Hey there, this is Real Talk Baseball. I'm Carlos Baseball with me, and always, old school, Willpower. How's it going, dude? Everything good over there?
What's up, man? Yeah, man. Can't complain, especially after all this news that's coming around, Uh
Yep,
man, we got some crazy news to talk about today.
of course, man. We're going to talk about the Yamamoto contract with the Dodgers. Of course, we're Dodger fans, and we're going to break it down. And we're going to talk about all the haters out there for sure. And we're going to, let them know what's going on. Like, you can't hate on the Dodgers, like, I know they're the number one brand out there now. So, but you got to like it anyway. So, we'll talk about Glass now as well. Margot got traded to the Dodgers. We haven't even talked about that. And are the Dodgers ruining baseball? That's a big question right there. And everybody's asking it around, and we'll get our input and we'll talk about that out here on Real Talk Baseball.
Look at all these haters surrounding me every day, hating on the baller, but they can't stop my pain. Stop all this hating, I can't take it no more. I'm just trying to get mine, you best get yours. So what you hating for?
We got a different intro today. I think it's I saw it on the post and I'm like, I gotta put it, man. And then
It
Tony
sounded
Scott was like,
sounds
you know what? A little shigmunk.
sounds appropriate,
Well, we had to put it on because a lot of people are hating out there, man. There's a lot of podcasts I went on to this morning, and man, there's a lot of like people saying that the Dodgers ruined baseball. They did all this, and the reason why they're talking about that is because Yamamoto signed with the Dodgers. Uh, it's it when you heard the news, Will, did you believe it? Did you feel like, okay, are the Dodgers really got him? They're gonna go ahead and spend that money, and then they're still gonna try to get more additional pieces to help the team. They already got Ohtani. Now Yamamoto. That's crazy,
yeah.
right?
That's a lot, dude. It's a lot in addition to some other moves that they've been, kind of working on throughout the offseason. But man, I really did not expect them to land Ohtani. And then after they did, I especially didn't. I didn't expect them to land Yamamoto as well. Like I really thought that the Yankees were just going to be all in. No one else is going to touch this guy. He's ours, especially because of all the news that I saw about like Hideo Matsui or Hideo. No, what's his first name? Matsui that used to play for the Yankees like 15 years ago, whatever
Yeah.
that was.
Yeah.
He actually like reached out to Yamamoto and tried to get him to sign with the Yankees, and then I hear the reports about Yamamoto also requesting a second meeting with the Yankees. Like why would he do that if he wasn't planning on like really going with them? And then I hear that the Mets offered Yamamoto $325 million, and the Dodgers ended up swooping in and gave him the same deal that the Mets were offering. I guess Yamamoto saw, the dynamic of the Dodgers versus the Mets, and he sees that the Dodgers have a winning team now and are willing to do anything to win versus the Mets that kind of just like put everything together really fast because of an owner. It's different because the Mets are almost a whole brand new team, like brand new players all playing together versus the Dodgers who have added a couple pieces, but they still have that core that they've had for the last, 3-4 seasons that have that team chemistry already.
Yeah.
They have the top of the lineup all the way down to the bottom that have been in LA for a considerable amount of time. In addition to all these young guys that are coming up through the Dodgers system that have played together with the now major leaguers, and they all came up together, so they already do have that chemistry. It's not like what we saw in New York. It's not like what we saw in San Diego, where they're trying to just get like all these pieces from everywhere and kind of just like bunch them all together because each of those players on paper looks really good, but these people are human. These players are human. So you have to think about that human aspect also. It's not just about, this dude hit 325, in the last 6 months of the season and his power got out of control. When you move him out of the environment that he was comfortable in and put him in a different environment, we saw that with Francisco Lindor when he went over to the Mets. Before that, he was 280 with 30 home runs and a few stolen bases. Defense was just out of control, amazing, and then he goes over to New York and he has some issues with some players, or they had that story about like the raccoon in the
That's what I was gonna ask. Remember that story you said that they had like a raccoon or something was kind of like messing around with the dugout or the clubhouse. Like that's a bunch of crap.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly it was like Jeff McNeil and Francisco Lindor. They said that there was like a raccoon in like the walkway, like from the dugout, trying to get into the clubhouse. I don't know. It just sounded like a bunch of excuses on like why they weren't performing at the level that they were supposed to perform at. And there might be some growing pains with the Dodgers. Just like there was when Manny Machado got traded to the Dodgers, or just like there was when Yu Darvish got traded to the Dodgers a few seasons ago, but that was a mid-season trade close to the deadline versus these guys that are going to have a full spring training with the team, and they're going to be going through these growing pains all the way up until the end of the season from the beginning. So these guys have a legit 6 months to figure things out. And it's not just about these guys that are coming over. You already have a World Series caliber team, even without these guys. And these guys coming over just kind of like help solidify that. So I feel like with the camaraderie that the Dodgers already had before they went out and got Ohtani, before they went out and got Yamamoto, I feel like these guys are just going to be, coming into it. And the Dodgers are such an embraceful organization that whoever comes over to the Dodgers, if you're a good human being, if you're a good person, they will embrace you with open arms. It's not like these other teams, like we saw with the Mets, like what was up Jeff McNeil's ass, because he wanted to play shortstop. Maybe Lindor took that away from him. I don't know. I don't really feel like anyone other than who is actually part of that organization really knows the whole story, but I feel like things like that don't really happen with the Dodgers unless there's, a guy that comes in and kind of just like messes things up. Like we saw that with Yasiel Puig, when he came over and he was the guy that was always late to practice and he would show up to the stadium late for games, up all night partying. That's not the Dodgers mentality. And look what happened. He ended up getting traded to the Reds and now he's not even in MLB anymore.
That's true, man. Let me say what's up to Ryan Reyes. Thanks for being here. And we got Tony Snap up in here. What's up, Ryan? What's up to us, man? What's going on?
What's up, guys?
I just want to add to that. I mean, before like the Dodgers, went ahead and got Yamamoto, they went ahead and planned this out years ago. They went and said, I want Mookie Betts on my team. Why? Because that's a people relation person. That's a guy that you want to have in your team trying to get other players to come to play with the Dodgers. After that, they went and got Freeman, right? They got Freddie Freeman. They stole him away from the Braves, and now he's playing with the Dodgers. Now, Andrew Freeman, the general manager, he's like, the guy that I need to go after next is Ohtani. He let it known throughout the whole league, I'm not going to sign anybody big in 2022 or 2023. And he did that. He didn't sign a big contract. He didn't get anybody big in those 2 years. So now you're looking at, let's go ahead and, exhaust our, contract. Let's go ahead and put that money to work. We have the money. Let's make everybody hate us because that's what's pretty much happening out there. Everybody's hating on the Dodgers right now because they went ahead and got the best player in the planet, which is Ohtani, and they got the deferred, payment going towards him, which is something super smart. They're not even going to get over the luxury tax this year. Can you believe that? And then on top of it, they went ahead and got Yamamoto. Yankee fans, Giants fans, Mets fans, everybody's pissed off. But the reason why they're pissed off is because the Dodgers are doing what they need to do. They went ahead and they built their farm system. They went ahead and got a clubhouse guy. They went ahead and got, they went ahead and did what they needed to do. They scouted these players to play together. They scouted these players from way back to see, hey, these are the guys that I want as my core team. So this takes years to develop. A lot of people are hating and it thinks like, oh, the Dodgers have a lot of money. Yeah, they do have a lot of money, but they took a while to get to that point. The teams from 2017, 2016, 2015, there weren't a lot of contracts on those teams. Those teams were homegrown players, and they went there. So from that point on, they decided to say, let's go ahead and start, saving up money to buy these players so we can get 3, 4 World Series out of whatever's going to happen out of this. And right now, if we're talking about pitching rotation, I know we talked about Glass now getting traded and Margot. You're looking at that starting rotation. Oh my God, it's crazy, dude. So there's a lot of hating. There's a lot of like people saying that the Dodgers are cheating. They're not cheating. It's just when you have all these, like I said, when you have your farm system set up in a way for you to go ahead and win games, you have the pieces to trade off, to sign off. You have the fan base that's going to support you, go to games, buy tickets, buy merchandise. So the business aspect of the Dodgers has a big win on this one, man. And they're not even talking about that yet. So you said about chemistry, you said about all these things, and yeah, let's talk about the business side. They did all that work without us knowing, and being a Dodger fan right now is great. Is really great because now we're the first place team. We're the brand team. The Yankees are taking the backseat to us right now. So that hurts them, right? That hurts them. And then the Giants, knowing that that's our rival, it hurts them even more, dude. So you know what? Forget them. They can go to hell, dude. This is real talk.
You said that they've been planning this for years, and a lot of people didn't know really what their plan was. And honestly, I think this goes all the way back to when they just let Corey Seager walk, and then they trade for Trey Turner and they don't give him an extension, because they saw this guy playing 45 minutes away from Dodger Stadium and they saw what he could do. And they were like, well, I want that guy on my team instead of just this one guy. I'm going to get a 2-1 versus, a top 5 shortstop for sure in Corey Seager and in Trey Turner. Either one of those guys, those are top 5 shortstops in the league. But are either one of those guys capable of hitting 40 home runs and striking out 200 batters in a season? That's what the Dodgers are thinking. They're thinking like we can get one player that does both pitches and hits, especially because the National League has the DH now. And there's going to be an extra roster spot. So if they need to have a 6-man rotation to be able to get an extra pitcher on the team, then that's what they can do. Who says that it only has to be Emmett Sheehan or it only has to be Tony Gonsolin or only has to be Dustin May? It could be 2 out of those 3, or you can even like skip a start once in a while, depending on where you are in the rankings, right? If the Dodgers are far ahead in the rankings, go ahead and add a spot starter in there, like a Gonsolin or a Dustin May or a Sheehan, whoever is not part of that starting rotation. And you got to talk about Dodgers pitching injury history as well, because almost every single one of those players on the Dodgers pitching rotation gets injured every single season,
Dude,
and then now
you're not even talking about Kershaw yet. They still haven't signed him.
I know, but the thing is, Kershaw's not going to be able to pitch until June. So I think they're probably trying to negotiate with Kershaw, and tell him like, hey, we want you back, but since you're not going to be able to pitch until June, we're not going to pay you $20 million for this season. We'll give you half of that. We'll give you half because look what you did in Game 1 of the NLDS last season. We want you to have your redemption, but we're not willing to pay you, Cy Young caliber player money when you're only going to be here for 3 months and you haven't proven yourself in the playoffs. How many times has Clayton Kershaw been in a playoff game and not performed? You can't
hate on Kershaw though, man.
I love Kershaw. Kershaw is Dodgers Hall of Fame, possibly the best pitcher they've ever had on their team. He came up through the Dodgers farm system, before he even got called up. Amazing player. MVP, Cy Young winner, multiple All-Star games and all that. It's just when it comes down to it in the playoffs, it just doesn't click for him for some reason, you know, and that's okay. Maybe it's just a little bit too much pressure on him. Don't give him the ball in game 1, you know, make him a game 3 starter, you know, or
Tony's
even
telling you right now, leave Kershaw alone.
I mean, I wish I could, man. I wish I could leave Kershaw alone. But the problem is, I got to be real. You know, I am a Dodgers fan, but I got to be real about Kershaw, and he just doesn't have it in the playoffs. We've seen a couple times where he did look pretty good, but a couple times out of like 15 opportunities, it's just he has way too much to prove, and I feel like he needs to do that in a Dodgers uniform.
All right, well, let's talk about the contract, man. The Yamamoto contract, he got 325 million. So he's going to get paid in 12 years, which is really great. You're forgetting the 56 million that he's going to get paid this year. So in total, he's going to get paid around 375 million. A lot of people are not talking about that, right? But he is going to get paid good. Now, you're talking about that in 12 years. You're talking about Ohtani's contract, 10 years. You're talking about Glasnow's contract, which is a little bit less. And then you have Mookie Betts and Freeman. If you look at the way they pay their team, you're looking at 235 million that the Dodgers are going to spend with having a superstar roster. You're forgetting about Bobby Miller. You're forgetting about Bueller. You're forgetting about these other cast members like Will Smith, right? He's another top player, but he's not getting paid top dollar yet. He will in the future, and hopefully it is by the Dodgers. But right now, they're not getting paid top dollar. Now, when you're looking at trying to booster your team, the Dodgers already kind of completed what they needed to do. Now you're looking at the bullpen, and the Dodgers are still looking and front runners to getting that bullpen fixed. And that's crazy to me that the Dodgers are still looking to get better, even though I feel like it's a star lineup, starting pitching, and you're looking at the bullpen. They're okay. They're not all that bad. They're probably going to go get like a Josh Hader or someone else, you know, like Phillips is looking good still. You know, he can still do it. But if they're going to try to upgrade, why not? So this is the point I'm trying to make right now. I know I went a little bit off topic, but if you're looking at the Yankees roster, you're looking at them making 300 and something, 325 million a year that they're spending. The only two players that come to mind from the Yankees, who are they? Is Aaron Judge and Garrett Cole, right? The Dodgers, they're paying under that 300 mark, and guess what? They have way more stars on that team. So everybody's hating, everybody's talking about them. Why are they allowed to do this? Why are they not getting, fined for this? Why is there not a salary cap? Now they want a salary cap. But they weren't talking about that when Aaron Judge got his contract. They weren't talking about that when Garrett Cole got his contract. They weren't talking about that when the Padres made this monster team and no one said anything. They didn't make the playoffs, you know? So
and had to borrow money to do it.
Exactly. So why is it that when the Dodgers are doing it, it's wrong? And this is the part where I kind of feel like this sucks. Because you just said it, it's a roster move. You have a one player that's going to take that one roster spot, but because he's a pitcher and he's a hitter. So he's taking that one roster spot and he's getting paid $68 million a year after 10 years, right? He's only going to get paid $2 million, for the next 10 years, which endorsements he's going to make 25.
Exactly.
He's going to be making his good money. He's going to be making his good money, right? So this is where it's kind of like complicated and hard for me to understand. I got into a little arguments in these podcasts that I went to in the morning. Ryan, if you're still here, you sent me one, and I got into it with the guy because he's a Giant fan. He's like, he was hating on them. He was making this frown. He was like, oh, they shouldn't be doing this. I'm like, get out of here, dude. Come on. If the Giants did it, you would have been happy. If the Giants won it, win 60 games, you would have been happy. If the Giants would have got Yamamoto and Ohtani, you would have been rubbing in the Dodger fans' faces. And that's what it really is, man. They're just hating on the Dodgers right now. And to be the best, you got to be hated. And guess what? That's what we are right now. So it feels good to say that. I know we kind of feel like it's new to us. It's new to us, but we're gonna get used to it. We're gonna get used to all the hate and all the love that we're gonna get. Remember, the number one team is the most hated and the most loved. So live with that.
especially if they're from New York or from LA.
Yeah,
That's the thing. It's where the teams are from, because it's not just the Dodgers. People hate on the Lakers, people hate on the Rams, people hate on LA in general.
yeah,
Same thing with New York. People hate on the Mets and the Yankees and the Knicks. It's just that's how it is. That's how it is because of the star power that New York and LA has always had. People love to hate a winner, and that's the issue. But you know what though? Like I get so much hate at work. I live on the East Coast. I live near Philadelphia. Bunch of Phillies fans over here. I didn't go to work today, so I didn't hear it yet, but I guarantee tomorrow I'm going to hear so much trash talk about, oh, you guys are the Yankees of the West now. You just buy players and buy championships. And I'm like, I'm just thinking in my head, like, bro, we have like so much homegrown talent right here, and you got guys like Mookie Betts that got traded over, and he's worth a lot more than what he's getting paid right now. He took a little bit of a discount, I would say, just to stay in LA, because he knows that LA is a winning team, and it's not just going to be a one and done. I predicted on the last show that I was on with you guys that I predict that we're going to have at least 3 World Series wins during Shohei Ohtani's tenure. This is the Shohei Ohtani era. We have to win at least 3 championships to make this contract worth it. $700 million. If you can't get 3 World Series out of that, that there's a problem with that.
Hey, find me a rock. I want to hide under it if that doesn't happen. Oh man, dude, if they don't win a World Series, at least 1 World Series, find me a rock because I want to hide under it. Like I honestly feel like this team should win. And look, you know me well. I'm not one to say, oh, they should win this much. They should I feel like if they win a World Series for me, one, because it is baseball. You have a lot of teams that have super teams and they don't win anything, and it's happened in the past. We just talked about the Padres. We haven't even mentioned the Braves. The Braves had the best player in baseball, and they didn't go far in the playoffs last year, and that was Acuna. So the Yankees they're still the Yankees. They still can win the World Series. So it doesn't mean that we're going to win a lot of World Series. It just means that maybe if we get those 3, damn, dude, that'll be sweet. That'll be sweet. So all that money they invested, I think that'll pay off like in those 3 years.
See, and you used the perfect word, invested, because it's not just buying players, it's an investment. They are investing in the future of the organization for the next 5 years with Glass now being there, and the next 10 years with Ohtani, and 12 with Yamamoto. And you got the Dodgers farm system is so amazing, dude. Even if they miss out on Josh Hader, there's so many other closers out there that are really, really good. There's a guy in Cleveland is not going anywhere. They're not going to win the division, or maybe they'll win the division, but they're not going to go to the World Series. Ryan Reyes says it right here. What about the rumors of signing Class A from Cleveland? I haven't heard any rumors personally, but I know if you're on a team like if take Cleveland, for example, that has, if not the best closer in baseball, he is definitely one of them. They know that they're not going to make it to the World Series again. It's been a few years, and they just don't have the team for it. They don't have the starting pitching for it. They have a couple stars kind of here and there, but they need a lot of work. This is something that could potentially happen like maybe before the trade deadline this season. And now the Dodgers have the opportunity to bring up even more talent, even more AAA talent, AA talent, whatever it may be, to kind of show off like what we have in our arsenal, so that way we can trade for a guy like Class A. Like Pepio and DeLuca came up last season, and we got Tyler Glass now for the next 5 years from those 2 guys that are unproven. Like Brian Pepio looked amazing the last, 3 months of the season? Yeah. Looked great. Even in the playoffs, pitched great. Johnny DeLuca, he has a minor league track record where he has speed, he got pop in his bat, And that's what teams are looking for when they're either trying to rebuild or not necessarily rebuild, but they have like a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan, something like that. Well, the Dodgers have a now plan, so they don't mind giving up a couple of players that are part of a potential future, so that way they can win now, and having Glasnow put it in his contract that he was going to sign an extension, like it was pending on that for the trade. So smart, dude. So smart. But they didn't need to do that anyway, because Tyler Glasnow is from LA and he grew up rooting for Clayton Kershaw as a kid, rooting for the Dodgers. And now he actually gets to play on his childhood favorite team. That's amazing, man. That is amazing. We've seen that with a couple players. Sergio Romo got traded to the Dodgers a few seasons ago. He's an LA boy. He got his chance. Justin Turner, one of my all-time favorite players. He's from Long Beach. He went to I think it was Cal State Fullerton. And it's amazing to hear stuff like that. If I'm a professional baseball player, I don't care where I'm getting drafted. I made it to the major leagues, or I made it to the show or whatever. But eventually, if you get to play for your team that you rooted for growing up, dream come true, man. You can die happy.
That's true. That's true. And I think the thing is with Glasnow is that he's letting it be known that he wanted to come to LA. Like he was looking forward when he heard the news that he was going to get traded to LA, because I guess the story goes with Glasnow that every year, every offseason, it felt like he was going to get traded. He knew the organization that he belonged to, which was the Rays, we're going to trade him. He wasn't going to be sitting there all his career. So he was waiting on that call and being hopeful that the Dodgers were on the other line and saying, we want Glasnow. When he said that he wanted that contract, it helped out, dude. It helped out, and it was amazing, So Ryan Reyes is saying, we getting another bat, dude.
For what?
I don't know if we need another bat.
Yeah, I mean, okay. So if
you want to trade it more,
right? I mean, if we do get another bat, it's not going to be like a huge impact bat. It's going to be more about giving guys days off. So if you're going to get another bat, go ahead and get a Kike Hernandez, re-sign him. So that way, if Chris Taylor needs a day off, Kike can cover that. If Gavin Lux needs a day off, Kike can cover that. If Mookie Betts needs a day off, Kike can cover that. He can cover any position. I've never seen him play first, but I'm sure he can do that too. But other than catcher and pitcher, Kike can do it all. So why not have him just kind of be like that cheap bench bat, that could be like that extra roster spot that Ohtani's not taking.
I hear that a lot too, Ryan. I hear that a lot of people don't like Taylor. I don't know why he made that catch in Milwaukee. He's good.
Honestly, I love the defense, but dude, the bat has been suffering ever since he took up that Gary Sheffield type of approach at the plate. Like you see him, he's moving that bat so much. Like, dude, you're batting 220 every season. It's not working. And
but
before when we saw him in 2017, he was great. He was batting 285, had 20 bombs on the season. He performed in the playoffs. That's the Chris Taylor we need. I feel like he's been just like tinkering too much with his style. Just maybe he needs to just go back to the basics.
So what I wanted to add, Will, is that Chris Taylor's not that type of player. If you really look at how many pitches he takes, you're looking at 5-6 pitches if you have Chris Taylor up in the plate. And that's just enough for a pitcher to tire out. And that's why they have him out there. That's the type of player Chris Taylor is. Yeah, we would love for him to hit those 25 bombs, hit for 280. But he's a 235 hitter. We need to, just like Muncy. Muncy is a home run hitter. He's going to be hitting bombs. He's going to be hitting 200, 215, around that area with 30 home runs, 80, 90 RBIs. Chris Taylor, on the other hand, is the guy that's going to get on base, walking and taking pitches. Yeah. And that's the type of guy he is. I mean, that's why they have him there.
That's the Dodgers for you, man. Dodgers are all about getting on base. Who cares how you get on base? Just get on base. Yeah. Hope they offer Cody pizza and weed for life.
He's not coming back to the Dodgers, man. I think he wants $200 million. I think that's too much for a guy that said that I mean, I don't know. He was an MVP and then he just slacked off for 2 years and then now he put it together last year. I don't think he needs to be here in LA. I think he needs to be away and better his career. I thought he was going to go with the Yankees, but the Yankees already got their guy. They already got
Yeah.
they got Aaron Judge. They went and get what's his name, Doogie from
Soto.
the Red Sox, and they got Soto. So they got the outfield covered out there already.
Yeah.
So
And the DH spot's already locked up with Giancarlo Stanton, his massive contract.
yeah, yeah, and that, like I said, those are massive contracts. Those are monster teams, and why not talk about them? Like, why can't you say that? Why? Because Otani is getting paid 70 or 68 million a year after the 10 years. Like that. I mean, come on, that's not fair, dude. Like, pay attention to your team. Pay attention to other teams. Don't just focus on what's happening now. I know everybody's mad, and I know everybody feels like let's attack the teams, let's attack the fans. It's just adding fuel to the fire for us, feeling great about ourselves and feeling like we're the best fan base ever. So I mean, Tony, sorry man, Belly Dirt is not coming back. Walk machines, Muncie especially. Muncie's one of those guys that gets on bases. Well, he takes a lot of pitches.
Muncie, dude, his on base percentage is like 365, 370, which doesn't really sound that high. But then when you look at his batting average, it's like 220 or lower. Like that shows the type of plate discipline that this guy really has, man. Muncie he's definitely the epitome of plate discipline on the Dodgers. But if you look up and down the lineup, all of them have great plate discipline, dude. It's like something that the Dodgers instill in all these players. It's like I'm sure they got someone going through the analytics and telling each individual player, like, look, we analyzed you specifically. Don't swing at this type of pitch. Swing at this type of pitch because that's the one that we see that you hit the best. And with Muncie, man, oh my God, it is so crazy how good his eye. Yes, he grew up with the A's. They probably instilled that in him, and then he comes over to the Dodgers, and he had the same mentality and just amplified it because of what the Dodgers can do with their farm system and grooming players that are already MLB ready. He's up there with guys like Bryce Harper and Juan Soto when it comes to plate discipline. You just don't see that because he's not a guy that's going to hit 280.
Yeah. And not only that, like Brad Pitt really worked with him in that movie. So if you haven't seen that movie, it's Trouble with the Curve.
Moneyball.
Moneyball. Sorry, Trouble with the Curve is another one. But
that's a good one still, though. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, go check that one out. That's a really good movie. But yeah, it's just I think the Dodgers are going to be okay, even if they leave their roster like it is. A Class A will help if they trade for him. Ryan sent me that earlier, and I saw it, and I'm like, would it really happen? I mean, they're going to hate us even more if it does happen. But I mean, the current roster right now, it's a team to be, that could win a World Series. Yeah. Next year's the 2025 is going to be another a different roster, a more powerful roster. I could say, if Ohtani comes back from Tommy John feeling the way he did before. And like, I would just want to say, are the Dodgers ruining baseball? And that's one of the top questions. We went through the first 30 minutes talking about, the whole roster, and we kind of didn't talk about Yamamoto as much, but I feel like Yamamoto's resume says enough. We saw him in the World Classic. He throws hard. He throws a lot of junk, and that's what kind of has him there. That's why he's going to get that $325 million a year. Because he is that type of pitcher. You don't need to see him in the MLB to see what he has, because analytics, you have scouts, you had all these other things that take effect, and it's a different process now compared to what it was, Moneyball years and before that. You come to these years, you start thinking about, third time around the plate. I mean, about around the batting order and all these other things. So, like, I mean, there's different type of things. So the question was, are the Dodgers ruining baseball? And we're Dodger fans. If you have something out there, go ahead and post it. We want to know. But Will, and I need you to be honest. Don't just be a Dodger fan right now. Be a baseball fan. Do you think that the Dodgers are ruining baseball with what they did?
It's kind of hard to answer the question when you're not on the outside looking in. When you are on the inside, And because I am a Dodger fan, it's hard to answer that question. But if I'm trying to think with an unbiased mind, I just think that when it comes to Ohtani, there are multiple teams that had a lot of money, invested in what could potentially be Ohtani's contract. And Ohtani chose the Dodgers. He chose the Dodgers because of the type of team that they are and the mentality that the ownership has. The GM, all the coaches, just that winning mentality that they have. And then you look at Yamamoto, and the Mets offered Yamamoto the same exact contract that the Dodgers did, but he ultimately chose the Dodgers. Now, there could be multiple factors. It could be because he wants to play with his buddy, Ohtani. It could be that he just doesn't see the Mets having the same type of mentality that the Dodgers do, because the Mets want to win, but their way of winning is just throwing money at everybody, versus the Dodgers' way of winning is throwing money at like 4 guys, on a 25-man roster. So that's the biggest issue I see. Are the Dodgers ruining baseball? No, because, in the beginning, there were no trades and there were no moving teams and stuff like that. And the rules changed because of, players wanted to get paid and coaches wanted to get paid. Everyone wants to get paid, and the only way to do that is by moving to cities where you have bigger fan bases. The Dodgers have one of the biggest fan bases. It's like when you think of huge fan bases, you think of Dodgers, you think of Cardinals, Yankees, Red Sox. There's a small handful of teams that you can actually see, like it's the stadiums are just packed, sold out throughout the season. There's only a handful of teams like that. If Cleveland had money, or if the Royals had money or the A's had money, would they be as big as the Dodgers are? Who knows? Because those teams aren't really known for their, fan base.
But see, babe, I'm gonna cut you right there. See, that's the problem I have with all these teams that say they don't have money. They have 60 million on contracts on players, and they're making 200 million a year. What's happening to the rest of the money? They're not investing in players. What are they doing with it? They're baseball owners for a reason, to put a product out for their fan base to be happy about. That's what the Dodgers did. That's what the Dodgers are doing. They're not allowing, people to go out or owners to go out and saying, let me go get this player so I can boost up my fan base and then maybe get more money and make more money for my team so I can invest it more onto the field so more fans come in. This is the problem I have with all these fan bases that are saying that the Dodgers are cheating for what they did, and that's where I kind of feel like, and I'm sorry, I had to cut you off right there because I did look at the Pittsburgh Pirates salary. They have one of the best stadiums. I think they're one of the top 3 with the Padres and the Giants in the mix. So when you have a nice stadium like that and you don't have a product to play on the field, of course you're only going to have $60,000 in players. You're making 200 million a year, and what's happening to the rest of the money? 140? You're not investing on a player? Like, come on. You owe it to your fans that bought that ticket so they can go ahead and have fun in that stadium and come out with a W. And they're not doing that. That's the problem I have. So you have the Yankees, you have the Mets, you have all these other teams that want to throw money at players. They just don't want to go there. Why? Because they didn't build for it. Remember in the beginning of the show, we said the Dodgers built for this. We went 2 years without signing a big player, and they got what they needed. And now everybody's hating on the Dodgers. That's the problem I have. And to be honest, this is where I feel like a lot of people are probably going to be like, "You're not right. That's not the way it needs to be. There needs to be a salary cap." Well, if there's a salary cap, why didn't it happen when the Yankees, went and bought all those championships? No one said anything, So now the Dodgers are doing it. It's a big thing. They got the best player in the planet, and that's the wrong. That's just wrong. That's just wrong.
I think that the Mets actually have the highest payroll in baseball, but no one's talking about that because they're losing. No one's going to talk trash until a team actually starts winning. You know, and like it's the same thing, the complete opposite, but the same thing with the Astros. You know, the Astros cheated in 2017, but if they sucked and they cheated, no one would give a shit. You know, they only give a shit because they actually won the championship because of that.
What's up, Raleigh? I do see your comment here, man. Dude, it might bite them in the ass later on or right now.
Who cares if they get 3 championships out of it?
but look, they bought the product, they putting it out there. The fans are happy. When they go to Atlanta, when they go to Pittsburgh, they're gonna sell out that stadium, and it's gonna benefit you guys. You know, so
you know what?
It's great for baseball. It's great for baseball. That's what
also,
it is.
In 10 years from now, who knows what the market's going to be at by then? You know, are $45 million contracts going to be the normal in 10 years? It could possibly happen. You know, there's a the competitive tax bracket. I think that's what it's called. Is that what it's called? The CTB or something like that?
CBT.
So
CBT.
CBT, it's at a current threshold, and 10 years from now, because of inflation, it's probably going to go up. You know, so $70 million that they're going to be paying Ohtani later on, it's probably not even going to seem like that much at the time, because there's going to be a bunch of other players there that are not going to be at like maybe like that level, but close to it. And Ohtani is going to be starting to breed a new type of player as well. There's a lot of players in high school that move on to college that want to pitch and hit. When you're a player growing up as a kid, you don't want to just pitch. You know, you want to do both. You want to be able to hit bombs, and you want to be able to strike these dudes out. You know, and that's what Ohtani's doing. And I feel like all these kids that are growing up and watching Ohtani and becoming fans of Ohtani, they're going to want to do the same thing. And if they actually have the skill level to do both, maybe these teams will actually like let these guys kind of ride with it. You know, you get drafted by these teams when they're 18. You know, these kids are probably 7, 8 years old now that are watching Ohtani play. So 10 years from now, when they enter that MLB draft, if they're playing both of those positions because they've been groomed to play that, you know, that's the thing, is like Japan grooms their players to do that all the way up until, you know, their careers are done. And when they actually do get signed by a team, you know, that's like, well, like, we think you're a little bit better as a pitcher, so we're going to have you focus on that. Or we think you're a little bit better at hitting, so we're going to have you focus on that, you know. And it's not really going to be like that anymore, because Ohtani's changing the game. You know,
well, it might have changed. Babe Ruth might have had changed it back then too. You know, like, but
back
no
then
TV.
it was different, man.
There was no TV. There was
no
none of
social
that
media. You know,
right.
like and it's not only that, but how many teams were actually in the league? You know, there weren't 30 teams back then.
There
was 12. You know, something like that. It was a really small amount. It wasn't until like way later on that they actually introduced all these teams plus the minor leagues. They didn't have minor league system back then. And a lot of these guys, they weren't, you know, they didn't grow up playing baseball. Baseball was a new sport, you know, so they grew up, you know, just running on the farms, or, you know, whatever kids did back in like the 1902 or, you know, whatever it was.
Hey, let me answer this question right quick. $1 billion spent and still don't own the parking lot. I know, man.
Yeah.
Frank McCourt still has it. And that guy is not going to let it go, because that's where he's getting all his money from.
Did you hear about the gondola?
No. Well.
You didn't hear about the gondola? So there's supposed to be the owner of the parking lot. I don't. You just said his name. I don't remember his name. So he actually wanted to invest. I think it was $1 million. Yeah, he wanted to invest $1.5 million of his own money into a gondola system that would pick up fans from parking lots that are spread around LA and take them straight to the stadium. The kind of like the same way that they have the metro right now. Like there's certain parking lots that you can park around Dodger Stadium, and then you just take a bus, and then the bus ends up taking you, or like a little train, like it's a Metro Link, you know.
Okay.
So
it's like a people mover,
Yeah, exactly. Like how Disneyland used to have the people mover.
Yeah.
And so it's that's how it is now. But his vision was actually making a gondola So it looked like, a little hot air balloon, and it was on like a cable, and it would take people over the city of LA. You get to see all the sights and the sunset and everything that's going on, and it takes you right to the stadium. But a lot of the fans are actually against it because of the guy that's going to be benefiting from this happening, McCourt.
It's your boy.
So it's my boy. I didn't even remember his name.
That's messed up. You should remember his name.
I should.
See, those years right there were miserable, and those were in I believe 2004, where he was the owner all the way to 2000. I want to say 2009, and those were horrible years.
I heard stories that he actually let his wife be the one to kind of draft certain players because, I think he's cute, or he has nice hair, something like that. Like, she wanted nice looking players on the field and didn't really give a shit about their skill level,
Dude, what happened there is that the woman, she cheated on him, and she still won a bunch of money. That's why he kept the parking lot. He sold the stadium, he sold the team, but he's like, I need to make money somehow. I'll keep the parking lot. And that parking lot is super expensive park, man. So it sucks. It sucks. It really sucks. But
see, and people know that, and that's why they're doing the Metro Link, So he's like, well, I'm losing money because people aren't parking here anymore. They're doing the Metro Link, so I'm going to come up with my own system, so that way they keep on putting money in my pocket.
Yeah.
Which is where kind of the idea of the gondola came from.
But that came from Peter O'Malley back in the days in the 50s, dude, when they brought him out to LA to show him where they wanted to build the stadium. And one of the architecture buildings that they showed them, they had that going there. And imagine that would have been on there already. That would have been so different. Dodger Stadium would have been a different ballpark. But it is what it is now. It's a beautiful ballpark, but sometimes I feel like we need a new one. I don't know if you guys seen this show before. I've been saying that, and I've been to other stadiums, and that's why I feel the same. That's why I feel that way, that maybe we need another stadium. But it is a nice stadium. It's a nice scenery. If you've never been, I suggest you go. It's a nice stadium. It's just some fans are rowdy, and it sucks.
Yeah. They're definitely not going to be getting a new stadium anytime soon. They've invested way too much money in just, recent years. And the batter's eye and all these different seats, and there's at least Angel Stadium will go back to $10 parking. Yeah, that was always the beauty of going to Angel Stadium. It's like when I was a kid, I remember there were sometimes when we would go to Angels games because they were so much cheaper than going to Dodgers games, and it wasn't just the price of the ticket. Either game, I remember my dad saying that we could get $6 tickets, sit up all the way at the top, but $6 tickets, but then it's you get to the park and you're paying $20-$25 for parking versus you go to Angel Stadium, which is about the same distance from where I lived as a kid. I think it was 45 minutes
midpoint.
Either way. Yeah, it was the midpoint, and sometimes we would go to Angels games because it was a little bit cheaper. The food was cheaper, the drinks were cheaper, everything was cheaper. And the atmosphere was kind of cool too. It was more family oriented. And then back in the day, that's when the Raiders were back in Los Angeles, and it wasn't really the most
Raiders
safest places to be. Dodger Stadium has always kind of had a bad rep where you hear about stabbings or you hear about fights and gunshots, which is why they don't allow tailgating anymore. It really sucks. I forgot about tailgating until someone over here was like, oh, we're going to go to Philly Stadium. We're not going to go in though. We're just going to tailgate. And I'm like, oh, they do that over here? No way. Because, I didn't really have that. Yeah, that's awesome.
That's really cool, dude. Look, I went to Angel Stadium not too long ago, and their food is amazing. I'm not gonna lie, their food is amazing. The atmosphere is a little different than I'm used to.
Very calm,
super calm, really calm. And it's just I'm used to the rowdiness, I guess, and people talking a lot of baseball, people looking at the game. So it's just different environment.
Yeah. Angel Stadium is more it's just something to do, because there's not. The Angels don't really have the biggest fan base, because LA is Dodger territory. And the problem is they're only 45 minutes away from Dodger Stadium. And that's a big issue right there. I know ever since Gene Autry back in the day owning the Angels and then being the California Angels and then Anaheim Angels and Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, like they've gone through a lot in the past few decades. But maybe it's time to kind of break away from the Dodgers and become their own thing. I wish they would have just stayed California Angels. I don't know if that means like making a new stadium for them and kind of moving a little bit farther away, but I don't know. I feel like there's already too many teams in California. One of them's leaving soon. They're going to Las Vegas, but you still have the Padres, you still have the Dodgers, you still have the Giants. There's
the Giants.
Yeah.
They're still playing. Well, I did hear like not too long ago that the Angels might have a new stadium because they were looking into it. I don't know how true it is now. This would happen like probably 2-3 years that they were going to probably move to Long Beach.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Great, dude. That would have been awesome. I would have been rocking that LB. The LB Angels. Damn, that's like huge for marketing because everybody's already wearing an LB hat.
Yeah, and Long Beach is actually like closer to the beach. Like you see the Angels City Connect jerseys, how they kind of like have like a beachy theme to it. Like, dude, you're in Anaheim. Where's the closest ocean in Anaheim? You go to Long Beach, you're actually on the beach. I think that would have been amazing. Downtown Long Beach, like right by the aquarium. That'd be awesome.
Raleigh, you're right, man. Artie needs to go, dude. And he needed to go last year when he didn't trade Ohtani away. He could have done so much for him, or he could have done so many other things.
You know what, though? If the Angels would have traded Ohtani mid-season, I don't know if the Dodgers actually would have landed him. If he would have went to a different team, I highly doubt that the Angels would have traded him to the Dodgers. They don't want to do that with the crosstown rival. No, they probably would have done it maybe with the Yankees.
But it's easier to say now, right? It's easier to say because at that time they were still pushing for that playoff push, and it looked like they were only 2 games behind when that happened, and then they just started falling back. They went into that little losing streak, and then they fell completely back and out of it. But I mean,
and then Ohtani ended up getting Tommy John surgery early anyway.
Yeah, so it is what it is. But yeah, dude. I mean, we can be on two sides on this. We can be either it's good for baseball, it's bad for baseball. I see it as good for baseball because if the Dodgers are in town, you're going to buy that ticket. You're going to be making money for that stadium. Now it's your turn as a fan to say, hey, I want something like that too. I want to be happy about my team, my hometown team that I'm cheering for, that I'm spending my hard-earned money for. That's what I want. Right now, and Ernie texted me earlier. He said, like, it's gonna suck for the real fan, the guys that follow the team a lot, and that the tickets are gonna skyrocket and can't afford those tickets. And we don't know how much they're gonna be. They're probably gonna be super expensive, yeah. And you're probably gonna have to save up a little bit more longer than what you used to before, right? You're probably going to go to 2 games as opposed to 4 games, or maybe even less games because of how much it's going to be. And now you're looking at beers, you're looking at michelada, you're looking at hot dogs, you're looking at popcorn. If you have a family, nachos, it's going to be expensive. So yeah, I do see that as well. But if you're the opposing team, this is great for you. This is going to help, fan base. It's going to pick up a lot of other fan base that are around the world that's going to get to go to your stadium. Like I said, Pittsburgh Giants and Padres have one of the top stadiums. And I haven't been to Pittsburgh, but I've been to San Francisco and to San Diego. And those are pretty ass freaking stadiums, dude. They're nice. So Pittsburgh was constructed by the same architect. I want to go see that. And you're out there, dude. You need to go check that one out, man.
Kinda. It's like a 7-hour drive for me. I mean, it's doable.
Go out there.
Actually, the wife and I were talking about going for like a weekend, like a long weekend. If we have like a 4-day weekend or something, I think that'd be cool. Drive down there and stay for the weekend. Go to a couple Pirates games, or go to one Pirates game because she won't go to more than one.
Well,
but at least go to
schedule. Go check out the schedule and see if the Dodgers are going to be in town.
Well, I'm already like waiting for the schedule to come out so that way I can get my Phillies Dodgers tickets. I know they're going to be a lot more expensive because of how the Phillies are playing and because of what the Dodgers are doing also. True. So I still got to go to all 3 games though, dude. I have to. You know,
Yeah.
I don't get to go to Dodger Stadium anymore, so I got to get my fix when they're here. I went to Boston last season, so that was cool. Yeah,
That's nice. I did
my
see that, man. And that was
Dodger
dope, man.
fix.
The Dodger Boston series was cool. You went to 2 games or just one?
Just one,
Yeah,
unfortunately, but the tickets were just so overpriced, man. I mean, it's Boston, you know.
yeah, yeah. But it happens. It is what it is. I know. There. I'm trying to see if I can go to Chicago this year and
Oh,
see Wrigley.
which
I would love to
Wrigley?
see Wrigley.
Nice.
Yeah, Wrigley. So I want to see that stadium. But you know, it is what it is. The tickets are going to be expensive. You just got to kind of save up for them. But before we go into, because we have 5 minutes to the hour, I know it's a 1 hour show, and we talked about Dodgers all throughout the whole show. If we got fired up, and
That's what everyone's talking about right now, man. There's nothing
exactly,
else to talk about. No one else is doing anything.
yeah. So if you're out there and you haven't hit that like button, go ahead and hit that like button. If you're new on this show and you haven't posted a question, yeah, we're live. We'll answer it right now, and put it out there. We'll talk about it. And hit that subscribe as well. I should have said that at the beginning of the show, but we got a little bit fired up because there's a lot of hating, a lot of stuff going on with Dodger fans. The real Dodger fans, not the ones that get mad because they talk a little bit bad about them. No, the real Dodger fans out there. There's a few, there's a few out there, right, Will?
Yeah,
So
I mean, I was talking to my brother-in-law yesterday, and he was like, "We don't need no bandwagoners," and I'm like, "Yes, we do. Someone's got to pay that Ohtani contract, $700 million. Bring on the bandwagoners. Let them fill up that stadium."
I do have forms if you need some, so you can join the club, the bandwagoners. And then the train's not leaving soon, so if it's still parked, you guys can still join. You're welcome. Okay, so crazy how Yankees got Matsui to convince Yamamoto to play for them. Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
what I
Will
was
was
saying
talking
earlier.
about. Yeah, yeah. So
Didn't work. Didn't work. He's like,
Dude,
eh,
you know what's
whatever.
crazy? Yamamoto was like, man, let's go see what the Dodgers have. Let's go see what they're talking about. So they told him the number. They gave him a number, and they were like, you know what? Let me go to New York. So he went to New York. New York gave him, a nice price, and they were like, you know what? This will happen. You want to meet someone here? Meet this guy. He's going to tell you everything you need to know. And then he came back to LA, and he was like, dude, this is what they offer out there. Like, are you guys going to do anything about it? Business works that way, Japan, United States, Chinese, United States, Korea, United States. They're always back and forward because, I mean, those are top business people. That's what they do. That's how they conversate. That's the way they do business. So when Yamamoto went back to New York to the Mets and went back to the Yankees, he was like thinking, all right, do I want to win a championship? Do I want to wait 3, 4, 5 years for this to happen? Or do I just want to win it the first year I'm there and be part of something great? And that's what happened. You can hate it, you can love it, but it happened already. So we haven't started the season. I can't wait for the season to start. I wish it would start tomorrow. That's how excited I am. Christmas came early for Dodger fans. Too
And they're
early,
not done yet.
they're
They're
not
not
done
done.
yet. So that's going to be the crazy part. And you didn't even talk about the rotation. Will, like, we kind of skipped the rotation. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah.
Go for it.
So who's going to be number one? Honestly, I think Dodgers are very passionate about taking care of their players and having some honor. I think Walker Buehler is going to get the ball for a game one.
So that's gonna, you think so? He's
Yeah,
gonna be
I
the
think
number
so.
one starter?
I think so.
You think so?
Maybe not in the playoffs, but for the regular season, they're going to welcome him back, and they're going to be like, you're still our ace, so we're going to give you the ball for game one.
There's no setbacks yet. Nothing reported that his elbow hurts. I know
I haven't
Dustin
heard
May.
anything,
I know
but
Dustin May had a setback, right?
yeah, he's had his whole life as a setback.
What about Gonsolin?
Gonsolin, I mean, there's no chance he's going to be like the number one. It's really just going to be between like Emmett Sheehan, Gonsolin, and Dustin May going for that fifth spot. Bobby Miller definitely has number 4. And then the top 3, you got Buehler, Yamamoto, and Glasnow. And I feel like between Glasnow and Yamamoto, they gave Yamamoto that 12-year contract. I think that they're going to have him, take the ball in game 2 and Glasnow in game 3. So I got Bueller, Yamamoto, Glasnow, Miller, and then I think it's going to come down to spring training to see who is going to be that fifth starter.
Yeah. All right. Yamamoto better be number 1. That $325 million contract.
Oh man, save that for the playoffs, dude. Save that for the playoffs.
Wait. I thought you were talking about the playoffs.
No, I'm talking about game 1 of the regular season.
Because you went game 1, game 2, game 3. You're already talking about playoffs.
No.
We haven't even finished the season. I mean, the year yet.
No. It's way too early to see who to kind of like discuss who's going to be the number 1 starter in game 1. It's kind of obvious that the Dodgers are definitely going to win the NL West again. Game 1 of the NLDS, that one I feel like it's whoever is doing the best out of those 3, because all 3 of those guys are aces, man. And we didn't even really go over Yamamoto's numbers. Did you have a chance to look at his numbers from Japan?
I did, but I didn't write them down. I didn't do anything like that because there's a lot of reports on him already winning like the Cy Young for Japan. He won it 3 straight years.
3 years in a row. Yeah. Last season, he pitched 176 innings. He had a 170 ERA. No, I'm sorry, a 116 ERA. Yeah. And then the season before that, he had a 168 ERA and 190 innings. And then the season before that, it was 190 innings again. So this guy stretched out. He hasn't. I was talking regular season, fellas, but if you want to talk playoff rotation, by all means. I mean, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves.
Dude, I thought you were talking playoffs. You were like game 1, game 2, and I'm like, wait, this guy's 2 ahead of me. Like the season haven't even started.
I should have specified opening day. I think opening day starter is going to be Walker Bueller.
Dude, all right. So right now that Ernie said, hey, what's up, Ernie? Thanks for coming in. Like he said that he better be the starter. So what happened with this, and this is what happened with Yamamoto, is that when he went to New York, and this good thing you brought that up, is that he went out there and the Yankees offered the same thing the Dodgers did. They gave him everything that he wanted. I think they gave him a 10-year instead of a 12-year. And I feel like Garrett Cole, since he's the number 1 starter, he said, you guys better not pay him more than me. If that comes out in New York, and they could have had Yamamoto, and because Garrett Cole was selfish, that's going to suck for him, because New York is different than LA.
And not only that, but the players are different too. Like Garrett Cole's not from New York, or at least I don't think he is, but you can see the type of player he is versus the type of player that Walker Bueller is. And if Dave Roberts goes up to Walker Bueller and he tells him, I love you, man, but opening day, I got to give it to Yamamoto, I feel like Walker Bueller is going to be a little heartbroken, but he's going to be like, okay, I respect that. I'm glad that you came up to me like a man and you told me I'll take the ball whenever you want me to, because this is my team. I'm not here for me. I'm doing it for the Dodgers. Whereas Garrett Cole, it's like he's a different breed, dude. He's playing for himself. He's not playing for the name on the front. He's playing for the name on the back, even though the Yankees don't have their own names on the back. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So Garrett Cole did go to UCLA with Tony's favorite player that, he went to Japan.
Korea?
No, not Korea. Korea too. No, not Korea. He played with the Astros, but I'm saying UCLA. He played with Tony. If you know his name, help me out right here. I'm talking about your boy that went to the KBO. He played for the Dodgers too. Bauer. There we go. Bauer. He played at UCLA.
Oh, that's right.
Them. Yeah,
I do remember that. I think Garrett Cole was like it was his senior year, and I think Trevor Bauer was in his freshman year or something like that when they played together, and they had some heat between each other.
Yeah. So Garrett Cole is from California, dude. He's from Newport Beach. So He's in New York now, so I mean, it is what can you make
that,
New
was,
York?
that was a good accent.
I try. I wanted to show you one more thing before we go ahead and log off and have our last mentions. Tony did put something on here, and I don't know if you want to, say it like Tony would say it, or you want me to say it.
Let me see. You don't have to hate it, and you don't have to love it, but you got to accept it. I feel like that's from a movie. I've heard that before.
Tony, did you copy it from somebody? But I think Tony would say, you don't gotta like it, you don't gotta hate it, and you don't gotta love it, but you gotta accept it. What movie is that? Is it a movie?
I don't know. It sounds like
it sounds like it. Tony, let us know, man, what's going on there. It was a fun show today, man. I had fun talking Dodgers. And it is a real talk baseball. It's about baseball in general. And today was Dodgers. Why? Because it's the only news that's out there. It's the only news. The Dodgers are the only ones making things happen. I know Shelby Miller did sign with the Tigers today.
I didn't hear that one.
That's a new one.
Tigers are making some moves. They're minor moves, but they're doing some stuff over there too, just like the Royals. It's just
Royals,
very quiet this season. They're making moves, but it's quiet moves.
Yeah. All right. Last mentions, Will, and you can probably talk about the fantasy baseball when it's going to start. We're going to do shorts for it. And if you want to be part of our fantasy baseball, let us know. Send us a message, email us, go on our social media and do whatever you need to do so we can get you on that team. So go ahead, man.
So as of right now, in our 12-team keeper league, we have 2 teams available. If anyone does want to join, I believe one of those spots is already locked up from a guest that Carlos had on the show last week, but I haven't gotten a confirmation yet. So there are 2 spots available. I am also going to be starting a categories league for this season coming up. It's going to be a free league, but it's going to be more of just like a fun, kind of just like a getting your feet wet type of thing, getting into a categories league. But our keeper league is very competitive. So if you love fantasy baseball, you want to get into our league, you can email us at realtalkbaseball@yahoo.com, or you can get you can message us on Instagram. You can message us on YouTube here in the comments, or TikTok. Carlos is on TikTok. I believe Ernie does Twitter, so you can always look for us on Twitter as well.
X. They changed the name.
You can say X all you want, but everyone knows Twitter compared to X. We'll see if it finally catches on. I don't know. They should have just named it Twitter X. Whatever.
Yeah.
Also, all of our episodes will be uploaded to Spotify the day after we go live on YouTube. So make sure that you check our Spotify account and subscribe on there as well.
Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I don't know if this is going to be the last show of the year. It looks like it, because if Blake Snell signs before the end of the year, we'll try to get on and we'll talk about contract. We'll talk about what team gets him. I did have a conversation with Padre Bod. He was on last week, and he's a Padres fan. He did say that whoever signs Snell is going to be kind of like a backslap. Like, all right, this is whatever's left. I'm going to go ahead and get him and overpay for him. I don't know if that's going to happen. Maybe they overpay. Maybe they don't. Whoever gets them, that's what he said. And I was just like, I don't know. He said Dodger fans are going to have the last laugh.
For sure.
Yeah. So,
like Snell, like real quick, I understand Cy Young winner, right? But he also had the most walks given up by any qualifying starting pitcher. And he was helped so much by pitching at Petco Park for majority of his games, So Blake Snell is probably going to get paid because of the award that he just won. And he's a 2-time Cy Young Award winner. Giants will get him. Actually, I think he'll do very well in San Francisco because San Francisco has that really big outfield. He gives up a lot of fly balls. And if he goes anywhere that is kind of known as like a hitter's ballpark, his ERA is going to inflate above 4, just like it was in Tampa towards the end of his tenure there. He was helped dramatically pitching in Petco because of their lack of home runs that actually happens in that stadium. So if San Francisco does go out and get him, I would actually like to see that, so that way the Dodgers can tee off on him, a few extra times throughout the season. And
Yeah.
other than that, if it's not the Giants, it has to be the Padres. And if it's not one of those two teams, I feel like he's going to be very unsuccessful with whatever other team he decides to sign with.
Damn, those are some harsh words, man. That's crazy.
Call it like I see it, man. I call it like I see it.
All right. Well, yeah, like I said, I don't know if this is going to be our last show, but if you're with your family, enjoy your family, be with your family this time of year that you need to go ahead and embrace, and be happy with them, hug them. And, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Enjoy today and worry about tomorrow another day, So I'm Carlos Baseball. This is Willpower, Real Talk Baseball, signing out.
Merry Christmas.